Hello there, my stamping friends. Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have another Summer Celebration Wonderful World card project for you today. Today we're going to be making note card sized projects. We're going to be mostly using our DSP. I am going to be using the Celebrating You sentiment set to coordinate with mine, but you can use any sentiment you want. And I'm going to show you how quick and easy you can use your DSP to make some really cute note cards. So let's just go ahead and get started. So I'm actually going to be using this piece here to make some of our focal points for our cards. So most of my project I am using the Stylish Shapes dies, which are in the current catalog, and they come with squares, circles, and these banners. Okay. But for this one, I used my rectangular dies, my rectangular stitch dies, because I could get more flowers out of them this way. So if you see, here's the piece I cut, right? I cut lots of flowers. And you can see how this lined up on my DSP. Right? I was able to get lots of different ones. Now this one I actually did cut with the square, because the flower was so wide it didn't really fit in the rectangle very well. So that one I did do a square. So you could use the square die to do this. You would just find that you're going to get less flowers. You could probably do every other flower with the square, and then you'd have to cut this out a different way. So you could do this with the squares if that's what you have, but if you have the rectangles, I got more out of it with the rectangles. So just a heads up on that one. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and die cut some flowers out of this piece for your projects. So you can see here I've got a yellow one that I'm going to use with my yellow DS piece, my yellow stripes, and I've got this white flower with just that bright green stem that I'm going to use with this one here. That flower is mimicked in this paper there. I've also done some banners, okay, with my Stylish Shapes to do my sentiments on, which work really well with this Celebrating You stamp set that I'm coordinating with, because a lot of these are just about that size. So this works really well with a lot of these sentiments. Okay, some of them are a little wide, but most of them work here. So I've got banners for my sentiments. I've got my die cut images. I duplicated that same shape with a coordinating color. So this one I used Daffodil Delight to go with my So Saffron Daffodil Delight stripes, and this one I used Mossy Meadow to go with the Mossy Meadow in the paper and in that stem there. Okay, so a note card is a 3.5 by 5, double check, yep, 5 by 7, you fold it in half, it's 3.5 by 5. So your base card is, when folded, is 3.5 by 5. So I'm going to cover this with my DSP. So you only need a 3.5 by 5 piece of DSP. And I'm just going to put that right down with my liquid adhesive. So just add some adhesive to the back. Not too much, but enough that it's going to stay. And so of course you could do this with any of your papers, right? So if you pick flowers that are purple or pink, you might want to use a different background. But I chose these two to go with the flowers I chose for today's project. Okay, so there are my two note card fronts. And because I use that liquid adhesive, I can kind of smooth it out and spread it around the way I want it to. Okay, now I've got my die cuts here, right? So first I'm going to layer these up, and I'm just going to put some liquid adhesive on the back of my little flower, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset so that the solid color kind of creates an offset frame for the image. So that color is going to peek out from behind the image. Alright, so now I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals, and what I'm going to do is these are going to go, probably let it dry a little bit. These are going to go down on my cards. Like that. And then I've got these banners that are going to slip under here with the sentiments that I use for the cards. Okay, but maybe you don't know what you want the card for yet, so you don't necessarily want to stamp your sentiment. Well, here's a little trick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mini dimensional on the corners of these flower images. Okay, so there's this big gap here. So that's going to allow me to save the banner with my card, and then when I need it, I can just stamp the sentiment I want to use on it, and then just slide it in behind the embellished flower, and I'm good to go. So I don't have to worry about having pre-made cards with specific sentiments on them if I can add my sentiment later. So this one I'm going to put right there. This one I'm going to put right here. I am going to add rhinestone, iridescent rhinestone, to both of those, just for a little bling, but not too much. Doesn't have to be everywhere. Now you could just use them like that, right? You could even stamp directly on here if you wanted to for a sentiment. But here I have my banner, and then I can just stamp it, and then I can slide it in, put some adhesive, and it's good to go. Okay? So there are cards. Now I have one I did ahead of time that I'm going to show you. This one was with the pink rose paper. So same idea, right? I covered it. I put in my flower, used my rhinestone. This one I already did the best is yet to come. Okay, so this could be, you know, like the end of the year graduation, or somebody's retiring, or any kind of that kind of thing. Like, good things are headed their way. Now look what I did here. On my note size card envelope, I covered the flap, and this is really easy to do. So if you have some extra DSP, which oftentimes we do, all you want to do is you're going to add adhesive right to the flap of your envelope. And then you just put it right down on the crease, right where the envelope folds, press it down, and then, so now you've got it matching, then you just flip it over, and with your paper snips, you can just trim off the excess. So see how easy it is to have a coordinating envelope with just a little more of that DSP. So I don't necessarily do this with the flaps on my envelopes right away, because a lot of times I end up using all of my DSP, but sometimes I will have packets where I do have strips of DSP that are big enough for the envelope flaps, and in that case it's a nice little extra perk to do it that way. So does that make sense? Okay, so there we go. 3 quick and easy note cards that you could use. Now, do you know how easy it is to convert a note card to a regular size card? Okay, here's another quick little tip. I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to show you. So for this one, this is a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, which is our normal size card. If I took my card here, using this one because it's coordinating, I could just adhere this in the center of that panel, and then it's going to go into a standard size envelope, an A5 envelope. Okay, and it just dresses the card up a little bit. You could even emboss with your dry embossing folder, the back there, to give it a little texture, and you've got a full-size card. So whether you want to make note size with note size envelopes, or full size, or even put your note size in a full-size envelope, no one's going to care. But if you want it full size, you just add a piece of cardstock to the back to back it. Alright? Alright guys, I hope you're having fun with your new stamps and papers. And stay tuned, we're going to do fun projects all summer long during celebration with this fun celebration bundle. And I hope you enjoy the tutorials and your projects. Alright everybody, I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.